Welcome to my channel. I'm Pauline and I am a full-time nurse, part-time traveler, aspiring to be a full-time traveler, and welcome to my channel. Our first stop was the sand dunes. Who knew that there were sand dunes in Colorado? Like, I didn't, and I certainly didn't know that the tallest sand dunes in America were in Colorado. So where we camped was the Great Sand Dunes Oasis, and let me tell you, it is an oasis. There is nothing around the Great Sand Dune National Park. Like, this is literally an oasis in the middle of nothing. It was so adequately named. There was nothing else for another 30 minutes to an hour around the park. So for that night, since we were there kind of late, we just got our takeout and watched the sunset over the sand dunes.
I got ketchup squirted all over me because of the air pressure up here in Colorado.
No.
But you guys, just look at our view.
Good morning. So we are at the sand dunes and we camped for the night, and now I'm gonna go wake up Harrison and have some fun on the sand dunes.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
When we first entered like the actual part and we were at the base of the sand dunes, it was crazy. We did not realize how massive these dunes were. We would see people like walking up the dunes and they looked like ants. We're like, we do not realize how big these sand dunes are, because they don't look that big until you see people and you're like, they look so tiny. And it was a workout walking and hiking those dunes. Like, people made it to the very top and we're like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna go up there. We made it halfway. We're not even close to the top, nowhere near close. And I would recommend sunglasses and pants, because this sand is awful. So after the sand dunes, we just really wanted to rinse off it because there was sand everywhere. Like, sand in my ears, sand in my camera, just sand everywhere. And thankfully the showers did work. They were freezing cold. And it definitely made us feel a lot better before our drive to our next spot. It did not get all the sand that we needed to get off of us, but it did its job. It made us feel somewhat refreshed before we headed off on another 4 or 5 hour drive to Ouray.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down.
Ouray is considered Switzerland of America, so we definitely had to check it out. And it was so cute. It seriously was like this little mountain town with under like, I don't even know how to describe it, in this like a valley of green hills with snow-capped mountains in the background. It was very pretty. What Ouray is really known for is in the winter they have like, I guess, epic ice climbing, because they have huge waterfalls that are frozen over that people climb, and then there's a big ice festival. Ouray is very, very popular in the winter, but in the summer it was just as cute, just as fun. And we stayed at Abram Inn and Suite, which is right in the downtown main area, where you seriously just walk out and there's all these restaurants and shops, and it was in a great location. So when we got to Ouray, we showered and got all the sand off of us. I thought I was never gonna get the sand out of my scalp, but we got all cleaned up and ready for dinner. Our inn was in a great spot. We seriously walked out and we were in downtown. We just walked to our restaurant that we went to. It was called Colorado Boys Southwestern Pub, I believe. We were starving. We didn't eat all day because Harrison and I typically don't eat breakfast or lunch, and we just, go hard on dinner. We intermittent fast. He ordered Mexican and I ordered pizza, and the pizza was so good. The pizza had honey on it and it was called honey pie pizza. That was probably one of my favorite things I had eaten on the whole entire Colorado trip.
It's early in the morning and our inn has this cute little deli that they are partnering with that gives us free breakfast that is just down the street. So it's too early, so we definitely drove, but it was like 0.3 miles away. Let me show you. There's Harrison. Harrison has 2 cups of coffee and I feel.
I have seen pictures from Banff and I have always wanted to go there, and I had heard that Colorado had lakes like that, so I was like, this is the one thing I want to do the whole trip. And I cannot express how much I loved it. This hike it's in Uncompahgre Forest, and the full hike there and back is about 8 miles, and if you do the full length you get to see 3 pretty alpine lakes that are so blue and clear because it's melted from the snow on top of the mountains. And this hike is rated as hard or strenuous, and it's because you are hiking for a long time, but not only that, it's the elevation. The elevation is what makes it difficult. You end up going, the total like amount of elevation gained is about 2,000 to 3,000 feet. So that is what makes this hike super, super hard. We saw on All Trails app that it was hard or strenuous, and Harrison and I, when we see stuff like that, we just kind of take it with a grain of salt. We're like, oh yeah, we heard it was hard, it's about 8 miles, you go up in elevation. We're like, okay, whatever, we're pretty fit, we work out, I'm sure we're gonna do good. We had to stop so many times for me. Harrison was very encouraging to me the whole way there. I was wiped and exhausted. It was a great, in itself, like the hike was also just great. The hike itself was great. There we were in the forest and we were on the cliffs, and we saw this river by us, and there was waterfalls. Like the hike itself was also a very, very beautiful hike.
About to start on our 8-mile hike, and it is 2 o'clock. So let's see how long that takes us. How long do you think that's gonna take us?
20 minutes.
I'm probably gonna be so far behind Harrison, he's gonna be pissed the whole time. But it's gonna be a great time. The beginning of our hike. Check-in. I'm dying.
Looks cool though.
Harrison's frustrated because I've taken a lot of breaks. But look how pretty the view is. You can't get mad about that.
It was a constant uphill hike. It took us about 2.5 hours to get there, and like we would ask people like, oh, are we almost there? And all of them, for the majority of the times we asked, was like, eh. And I'm like, gosh dang it, that means we're far away and they don't want to tell us that. But at one point we like just stopped asking and we would just stop asking. We're like, we don't want to know. After a long 2.5 hours of hiking up the mountain through the forest, Harrison saw a sign, and I was like, not just like, you know, a spiritual sign, but a physical sign. We had made it finally to the first lake. It was called Lower Blue Lakes, and the water was gorgeous, like so gorgeous, and it was in a basin, so there was no wind. And we went in the summer, so there was no ice over the lake whatsoever, and flowers were everywhere, and it was so dreamy. We freaking made it. That was the hardest hike ever. Ah. We did not understand how gorgeous this place was gonna be, and so we spent hours at this lake. We could not, no words as to this gorgeous area. It is 10:30, 10:40, and we just ate dinner. We just finished a 8-mile hike, and we were supposed to go camping today, but we are exhausted, so we found a $50 hotel to stay at, and it's not bad. You should know it. The next day, we were planning on going to Colorado Springs. We wanted to camp at the Black Canyons of the Gunnison National Park after our hike, but as you can tell, that didn't work out. So we just drove there since it was on our way to Colorado Springs, and it was really cool. Hopefully one day we'll be able to camp there, but we just didn't have time, so we went on our 4 or 5 hour drive to Colorado Springs, our last destination of our trip.
We gotta go down there. Look down there.
Whoa, we do have to go down there.
Come on.
I am.
Hurry up. Go. In Colorado Springs was this hotel called the SCP Hotel, and it's this very trendy hipster hotel that is very environmentally conscious, and that is kind of their mission. And we stayed there because the price for it was so affordable. It was crazy. It was maybe like $80 a night, and it was such a cool place to stay. The lobby had these cool hammocks hanging from the ceiling where you can sit, and then they had a pool table, They had games that you can play like cornhole. They gave you a complimentary drink from the bar, and then they also had free coffee and tea 24/7. They also had a yoga studio that you can do yoga in. It was just an awesome place to stay. I would highly recommend it. So we wanted to go to Colorado Springs because Harrison's one thing he wanted to do this trip was to hike the Manitou Incline. It's these stairs just up a mountain, and it was going to be like a challenge for us and something that we can accomplish. But after our hike, we were wiped. Completely exhausted. Anytime we went up like a couple stairs, even our hotel, we were tired. So we didn't do that. We instead, in Colorado Springs, decided to go to the paint mines, which are about 30 miles from Colorado Springs. And it was these cool rock formations that are naturally painted. So they make for awesome pictures, and they're also a really fun place to be because you can climb on the rocks and just, you know, jump around and play all over them. When we showed up, we saw that there was a hike to the actual rocks, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're so tired. Like, I hope it's not far. And thankfully it was not at all. It was a short, maybe 10-minute hike from where our car was. And we just had a lot of fun climbing all over them, and it's also free, so that's nice. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video, found it helpful, and comment and subscribe. Bye.
Let's go. Jump in. Ah! Is it cold?
So cold.
It's not cold. It's not cold, is it?
I need a towel.
Oh, I have the only one wrapped around me. We didn't think about